everyone, it's Allyssa here from my kitchen, and we are on our 11th week of our CSA box from Flocktown Farms and the Green Team in town. And what did I get this week? I got more tomatoes, I got collard greens, I got the yellow string beans. What else did I get? I never remember what I got. Oh, I got another one of those yellow watermelons. I'm really excited for that. I'm gonna use that today. What else did I get? Bag's right here, hold on. And I got the green frying peppers again, which, like I talked about a few weeks ago, I had that recipe for the egg cups, and it's a little tough because these are kind of shallow, but I still made it work and they were delicious, and it was a great breakfast. So I'll probably do that again, or maybe I'll just cut it up and toss it into a frittata or an omelet or something. Anyway, really excited for those. I like those. So today, the recipe, I'm doing two quick ones. I'm using the yellow watermelon. This is an onion from 2 weeks ago, last week. The tomatoes, and some, I think I'm using some basil too. Basil was available in the store if it wasn't in your box. So I have a bunch of recipes to go through, including one that I'm not making today, but I am super excited. Maybe I will make it over the weekend, a little treat for myself. Let's start with our first cookbook. This is my personal copy. I love this cookbook, but we do have it at the library. This is the Primal Gourmet Cookbook by Ronny Lvovski. And let's see if I can remember which recipe. All the rest of them have tabs because I looked at it during work, but let's see. Oh, I liked this. It was an everything but the bagel salad, and wait until you see how good this looks. It's sort of just, you know, like you'll always say, it's one of those recipes that highlights all of the wonderful fresh ingredients this time of year. Look at that. So it is a big salad with eggs, lettuce, tomatoes, or good tomatoes, cucumber if you still have cucumber, avocado, radishes, small red onion thinly sliced, smoked salmon, capers, a little bit of lemon juice, and everything but the bagel seasoning. And if you don't have that, or you'd rather make your own, he does have a recipe for that blend in this book as well. So again, this is just like a big platter, celebrates the ingredients. These tomatoes are so good, and you can't go wrong with that. Let's see. Yes, the collard greens. This is great. It is a cauliflower grits. So if you're looking for something other than corn grits, maybe you don't like corn, you don't eat corn, or you're looking for something a little healthier, you can make a grits textured sort of concoction. You can use regular grits too if you do eat corn. And then you top it with your shrimp and your collard greens. So he gives you the recipe components for the recipes for each component. It's been a long day. So first he tells you how to make the cauliflower grits, which is also dairy-free too. Then how to make the collard greens, which is just boiling with some salt in a large pot of water. And that's it. Oh, that's really easy. And then eventually you're going to add some garlic cloves to it. So once you boil it, you're going to add some garlic to a big skillet, get it really fragrant in some oil. Then you're going to add the drained collard greens in it, so the garlic will really fragrance those collard greens that have now cooked down. They're a little less tough, they're a little wilted. And then you make an adobo shrimp and you put it all together. So I actually do have some already cooked shrimp in my freezer, so I might season those up and use this as a recipe for dinner a little later on in the week. Okay, this next one, everything in here looks delicious. It is called French Comfort Food by Hilary Davis. Look at that. As I was walking out, one of my wonderful coworkers, you all probably know her, Jill, she said, "That looks really good." I said, "I don't know what it is, but I probably can't eat it. It looks like it's cheese. I don't know." but let's see what I had tagged in here. So the first thing, and this is great if you're still getting zucchini or your yellow summer squash, and the tomatoes and onion, and if you still have garlic left over. It's a Niçoise stuffed vegetable. So I think when people hear Niçoise, they think of that salad that you can get. Not everything is a Niçoise salad, so this doesn't have, eggs and tuna or what have you. This comes from Nice. In the region around Nice in the south of France, they fill miniature vegetables with a meatloaf mixture. It's a favorite snack sold in open-air markets and is offered as appetizers in restaurants. If you can find really small vegetables to stuff, it makes for a delightful presentation. If not, just use any vegetables from your garden. You can also use a bell pepper too if you don't have tomatoes. That's what's in the picture here. Use any vegetables from your garden or farmer's market and try for uniform size so that they all cook uniformly at the same time. So, oh wow, you can even stuff the onion. Actually, I've seen it before. So you kind of hollow out your onion and you stuff it with this meat mixture. So it's red wine, bread, chicken bouillon, garlic, beef, ground pork, a beaten raw egg, tomato paste, herbes de Provence, cayenne pepper, ground black pepper, some more breadcrumbs. You stuff it all in there and you bake it. It sounds great. This is what I am saving to make for myself maybe on the weekend. It is a savory tomato basil cake. So there it is. It's not a zucchini bread and it's not a cake. It's not a carrot cake, but it is tomato basil. So this actually sounds really great. Savory quick cakes have become a French family favorite because they are flavorful, fast, and easy to create with ingredients on hand. Tomato, basil, olive oil are the Provençal ingredients that define this savory loaf from the south of France. Slightly sweet, serve slices or cubes with a smear of salty black olive tapenade or goat cheese and a chilled rosé wine. So it's 2 medium tomatoes, some sun-dried tomatoes in oil, flour, baking powder, baking soda, that whole flour mixture, some salt and black pepper, basil, little bit of sugar, tomato paste, eggs, and olive oil. So it is like a quick bread. It's somewhere between a cake and a quick bread. It also says you can add or substitute to your heart's content with this basic recipe. Try tiny cubes of ham, cheese, or olives. Also, the cake has a lovely texture using olive oil, but if you would prefer to use butter instead, you can do that as well. This has it cooking up in a big, I think this is like a loaf, a loaf pan, but it says it makes good little minis as well. So you could do those mini bundt pans. It would be great for this. Sounds awesome. So this is going to be my weekend treat for myself. So I'm going to make sure I leave my bookmark in there. Speaking of the salad niçoise, this is, and it's actually, I'm going out of order today. It's actually what I'm going to make for my dinner tonight. It is a summery sandwich, which is inspired by a salad niçoise. So this has the eggs, I don't have lettuce. We'll forgo the lettuce, it's fine. Tuna, some anchovy fillets, garlic, some olives. I don't have the red olives and they didn't have any at Trader Joe's, the ones that I was looking for, so I'll use regular Kalamata olives. Tomatoes, and I think I already said the eggs. So you just make a sandwich. It's like a salad on a sandwich. So I'm gonna make that. And then another great one that highlights whatever vegetables you have, if you're trying to use them up or you're looking for something different, it's called a layered vegetable omelet cake. And it's not a cake at all. It's just layers of thin omelets with different veggies in each layer stacked on top of each other, and then you can cut it kind of like a cake. So their example is that they have the green omelet, which is zucchini and some thyme. The red omelet has red bell pepper and cayenne pepper in it. The yellow omelet has your yellow summer squash, your yellow zucchini, and then there's also a green pea and carrot omelet, which has turmeric in it and Parmesan cheese. So they all have slightly different flavors, And if you don't have all of those vegetables, you can just use whatever vegetables you have. So it's just, it's like really easy, and it's a great way to use up your veggies, especially if you need to get your veggies in, but you feel like, oh my gosh, I have so many zucchini, I have so many tomatoes, I have so many bell peppers. You got to use them up, whether you're getting the CSA box or they're from your garden. A lot of gardens are overrun right now, and you got to figure out how to use it all. This is a really great way to do it. All right, so that was that one. The next one is Sweet Home Cafe Cookbook. This comes from the National Museum of African American History of Culture. Okay, let's see, what did I save in here? Oh, this is the other thing that I'm going to make today, actually. I'm all confused. Everything sounds really good. So I'm gonna do the Niçoise salad sandwich and this easy tomato watermelon salad. It is literally just chunks of watermelon. They use a regular red watermelon. I'm going to use my yellow watermelon. Vine ripened heirloom tomatoes, some olive oil, vinegar, sea salt, black pepper, cayenne pepper, a sweet onion sliced thin, and parsley. That's it. It's just like a nice little summer salad. A lot of people are getting corn now. So if you're tired of having corn on the cob, you want something different, you can slice the corn right off the cob and make corn pudding. This recipe does say that it's best with, of course, fresh corn. You can use frozen or canned corn, but when we have these amazing cobs of corn from the farm, make something really cool with it. So it's somewhere between, it's not a pudding, it's like a cake, like a casserole. It uses onions, eggs, half and half, cream cheese, butter, nutmeg, flour, little bit of sugar, and a little bit of salt. I actually really like the description for this. The African American kitchen often intersects with the cooking of Native Americans. Here, a Southern corn pudding is a history lesson in a casserole. It combines the British tradition of pudding making with Native American corn in a dish that is pure Southern comfort food. If you've ever had a corn casserole or like a corn souffle, really good. Another use for corn, if you're looking for something a little more extravagant, these are empanadas, and they're made with a filling of black-eyed peas, golden corn, and chanterelle mushrooms. And also has a recipe for fresh tomato salsa on the side, so you can make a fresh salsa with all the tomatoes that you've been getting. And then it uses pre-made empanada wrappers, so you don't have to worry about making the dough yourself. We like that. We love shortcut. Some people have jalapenos, and I think some people were lucky enough to grab those peaches while they were still in stock on Saturday. I tried, they sold out very quickly. But here's a recipe for a charred peach and jalapeno chutney. When many people think of peaches, they typically think of Georgia, but the West has peaches too, including areas of Colorado where they have been growing the fruit since the 19th century. This flavorful chutney combines the juicy sweetness of the fruit with the heat of jalapeno peppers. It includes cilantro, vinegar, brown sugar, some ginger, another little bit of sweet onion, some peaches, and some honey. So that also sounds amazing. Okay. The next book that I have, this is a big one. I didn't actually bookmark anything in here because I'll just kind of read down the index, but it's an excellent one for some of the ingredients that we have, namely tomatoes. If you're looking to do something more creative than just have, the fresh raw tomatoes, you can't go wrong with it. But if you want to cook something with your tomatoes, there are some great recipes in here. Everything from, chicken stews, to different salads, cauliflower with capers and tomato, a charred salsa, that sounds great. Amaranth salad, amaranth is a grain, lentil soup, different egg dishes that utilize tomatoes, of course a guacamole, pork in a red mole, pork tostadas, a raw tomato salsa, red pork tamales, red rice, red seafood soup, a roast chili and tomato salsa. So again, this also has a ton of different salsa recipes as well. So then you still retain some of the joy of a fresh tomato, but in just different preparation. Tomato cheese and cilantro salad, tomato and pumpkin seed dip, Veracruz style oysters. I mean, there are so many options. Meat tacos, habanero fresh salsa, heirloom tomato salad, poblano chili and shrimp soup. There is also a recipe for a watermelon and jicama salad, which sounds amazing as well. There are some zucchini recipes here. Ranch style chicken soup, stuffed zucchini in broth, a zucchini cake, zucchini with mushrooms, zucchini with shrimp, zucchini stuffed with corn. There you go, 2 birds, 1 stone. That's amazing. And let's see. For the jalapenos, again, a jalapeno salsa or pickled jalapenos with other vegetables. And then corn, like the tomatoes, there's a long list in this index. So corn pancakes and sauce, corn pudding, corn soup, creamy corn and zucchini flour soup. So if you were to have the zucchini blossoms, you would do that. Corn and almond pudding, corn with beans, broiled corn with garlic. That's not difficult at all. Stuffed supreme chilies, maybe you could do that with those frying peppers. You can, instead of having chilies, you use those peppers. Vegetable soup, and just all sorts. I mean, there's really, this is a big book. This is really, this has got everything in it that you could possibly need. So this is, I think I got too excited about the index of this book because I'm a librarian and we get excited about those things. I didn't even say this is Mexico, the Cookbook by Margarita Carrillo Arante. And highly recommend. This is a big, heavy one. You know I love my big cookbooks with the long indexes like this and the America's Test Kitchen Cookbook because there's just so much that you can find just by going through here. And that's how I've been finding all of these recipes, is just sitting down in the cookbook section and opening up the index and saying, you know, I need to use zucchini this week. I have a lot of zucchini, and then you find it. Okay, so I'm going to get started. We're gonna start with the watermelon salad. So I'm gonna clear off a little bit. I'm gonna prep my space and, well, I guess I don't really need to prep that much because my watermelon's already cut in my fridge, but we're gonna get started and then we'll move on to the sandwich. Okay, this one is really easy and quick. Like I said, my watermelon is already all cut up, so that takes out some of my prep time here today. We're going to start with a little bit of white wine vinegar. I am eyeballing it because we are not baking, we are cooking, and as usual, I'm just making a small serving for myself here. So I'm doing a vinegar, calls for sherry vinegar. I'm using a white wine vinegar. It's kind of like whatever you think would taste good. If you don't have the ingredients, a little bit of olive oil, little salt, little pepper, and then the cayenne pepper as well. I'm using a coarse salt here because I like the coarse salt on top of something like a watermelon or a tomato. You don't have to use a coarse salt. You can use a regular salt so it maybe mixes a little more through, but it's all good. Okay. And the cayenne pepper. Okay, so we're just going to kind of whisk this together. You're making basically your little vinaigrette salad dressing until it's well combined. You would be doing this on a much larger scale in, say, a salad bowl that you're going to share with everybody else. And just make sure that you taste it, right? This is not raw meat or anything, so you can taste it. Make sure you like the way it tastes. Good. Ooh, there's some warmth there from the cayenne. Ooh, that's going to be good with the tomato and the watermelon. Okay. Oh, it's a lot of cayenne. All right. So we're going to add the onions. I am slicing them nice and thin. I'm just gonna do a little slice down the middle. I'm just gonna try to get these nice and thin here. Obviously, I'm just making a small serving, so I'm not gonna slice up that many. And then same with our tomato. We're gonna give that a nice little slice here. I believe in this week's email, everybody at Flocktown Farms talked about why the heirloom tomatoes look like this, why they have these breaks in them, and basically it's just that they, to my understanding, is they grow too big and too fast for their skin. So a good heirloom tomato will then burst open, and then the skin kind of tries to cover itself back up, and you get these beautiful, gigantic heirloom tomatoes. Even though they have all of those sorts of cuts and scrapes, it doesn't mean that they're bad, because they're not cuts and scrapes. It's just rapid, wonderful growth. And now my watermelon. I'm going to try to poke out some of the seeds of the watermelon and cut it into smaller cubes before I add it to my bowl. And it does even say in the book, it says in the recipe, if you have the yellow variety, that's great because it is nice and sweet. It said don't be afraid to mix your varieties of tomatoes and watermelons just to create both visual interest, and there are some flavor subtleties. So I'm gonna make some smaller cuts here. Make sure there are no seeds going into my little salad. Okay, all right, so I'm going to toss this together, and then I'm going to let this sit for a little bit. I'm gonna let these flavors all come together in here. I'm going to let the onions sort of soften down. I'm gonna let the watermelon soak up some of that vinegar, and then I will taste it again and decide if I wanna add a little extra seasoning, and then I'll eat it when I have my sandwich. All right, so I'm gonna clean up and reset my island here. I'm gonna put this to the side and let everything come together. I'll be right back. Okay, so now I am prepping my sandwich. I have already sliced some more tomato and put it on top of my bread over there. I have some more of my vinegar and olive oil in here. I need to grab a spoon, hang on. To this, I'm going to add some pepper and Dijon mustard and a little bit of minced garlic. And we're not adding salt because we're doing a little fillet of minced anchovy. These are very salty. Do not add any additional salt. I have a little pastry brush here because we're going to brush the bread with this nice little vinegar emulsion mixture. If you had lettuce like I do not, you would make enough to coat your lettuce just barely. You're going to combine your lettuce with your basil. Very little Dijon mustard. It's very, very pungent. Just enough to combine or to coat, and then you save the rest to kind of paint right onto your bread. I'm going to do a little bit of the garlic. I actually don't need the onion for this recipe. I was just looking at too many recipes today, so I saved most of it for my eggs tomorrow. I'm going to do the same thing with this garlic. I don't need this whole clove to do a little mince here for this recipe, so I'm just going to do a little bit just to get some of that garlic flavor going, and it will sort of sit and flavor everything. So just a little bit of a fine mince of my garlic here. Okay, and now that I'm done with my vegetables, I don't feel so bad about cutting an anchovy fillet on here. Okay, so you want to make it a really small mince of these anchovy fillets. So it distributes throughout, and you're not getting any really big chunks. Okay, that's good. but it does add a lot of flavor. Okay, so I'm just gonna mix this very, very well. Create a nice little emulsion, right? See, get it all to mix in. The Dijon mustard is gonna help everything to mix in nicely. Okay, I'm gonna put this to the side. I'll show you how we put it all together in a second. I've got my tuna here. I do not have, the recipe calls for a cured black olive in oil. Trader Joe's did not have that. All right, I struggled to open that for a second. So I'm using a Kalamata olive. It's a different sort of flavor than the black cured olives, but it's still got kind of a nice brininess that I think will go well with everything that we're doing here with this sandwich. Okay, the other thing that you need that I had to get, it was in the microwave. I did a microwave hard-boiled egg. I'm actually not sure if this is hard-boiled or soft-boiled. Let's see what happens. Nice, perfect. If you've ever had a Niçoise salad, you know that it's got egg on it as well. Okay, let me grab my plate and bring it over. We're gonna assemble everything all together. Okay, so like I said, we're going to first paint our bun here. It kind of calls for a crusty French bread or maybe even a ciabatta. I have an English muffin. It was the only thing that Trader Joe's had that was gluten-free, that was kind of the right texture and size, rather than just sandwich bread. So I'm going to use this nice little Dijon mustard vinaigrette with the anchovy and the garlic to paint my bread. I also took some out of the middle, it said in the recipe, because, you know, more room for filling, right? And then I will lay down my basil. This is where you would lay down the lettuce and basil mixed together that's also coated in the vinaigrette. And then I will lay down some tomato. Some of my tuna. And it says to kind of mush your tuna around, so, you know, maybe it's not totally in these rigid little fillets like I have, but mush your tuna in here. Add your olives, whether it's the black cured olives that you're supposed to have, or if you're like me and you're making it up with the Kalamata olives, get your basil on here, like I said, and then forgot. And then you're gonna add your hard-boiled eggs. Look at these. These came out perfectly in their microwave. The yolk is just yellow and set, but it's not overdone. I did it in the microwave. I did it in a bowl that was deep enough to completely cover the egg with water, salted water. Apparently that prevents it from exploding. I cooked it for 3 minutes. My microwave works very well, it's very strong, so I did 3 minutes. If your microwave is a little less strong, 4 minutes. Then I let it sit for about a minute. Then I did another 3 minutes, and then I let it sit in the microwave for another 1 to 2 minutes, and then I did an ice bath, or you can run cold water over it, and I peeled it, and this is it. Okay, the other thing is that you would put a little bit of sugar in your dressing. I did not put any sugar in my dressing. I didn't feel like that was what I wanted to do. And then you're supposed to kind of wrap this all up like really tight and let it sit for an hour for all of the flavors to soak together. I am not doing that. I am hungry. So I'm gonna smush this all together. The cookbook also has a really cute idea to make little slider versions of this, and you can serve them up at a party. Okay, let me clean this up quickly, bring both of my dishes together, and we'll try everything, and that's dinner. Okay, I have my 2 plates here ready to go. Let me tell you, as I was cleaning up, I had that spoon that I used to mix that Dijon vinaigrette with the anchovy, and I took a little lick of it, and then I bit into the leftover of the tomato that I had. What a great combination. So I know it's gonna be really good here. And then I've got my little tomato and onion and watermelon salad. All of the juices have been releasing. Everything's been kind of coming together. The longer you let it sit, the better. So make this in a really big salad bowl and cover it up and toss it in the fridge for a few hours. This is great for a make ahead if you're having friends come over for a barbecue, potluck, whatever. And then I topped it with some fresh parsley. All right, I'm gonna go in for a little bit of everything, the tomato, the onion, and the watermelon. All of these flavors go together so well. The parsley really does add to it, and because I put the parsley on while it was sitting, the flavor from the parsley has leached out. It just adds a little bit of fresh herbaceousness. The onions are nice because they've been sitting. They still have that sharp onion, but because these are a sweeter onion and they've been sitting, they're not too sharp. The tomato and the watermelon, brilliant combination. Everything has sort of soaked up all together. That cayenne makes everything really warm, but the salt, the pepper, and the vinegar cut through. It's really good. It's really good. I mean, the watermelon and tomato, what a match made in heaven. Excellent. And see how easy this was? The part that's going to take you the longest is cutting up your watermelon. Okay, next I have my Niçoise salad sandwich with the Dijon mustard vinaigrette, some basil, tomato, hard-boiled eggs, tuna, and olives. I'm just gonna go for it. It's very good. The basil's very fresh. I haven't really gotten to the tuna yet, but I can taste that Dijon mustard vinaigrette with the basil. Very good. The basil's very strong. The vinaigrette with the Dijon is really nice in there. Okay. Definitely a sandwich that you need a napkin for and a fork to clean up what's on the plate. But, so I got, in that bite, I got some of the tuna and some of the Dijon with an olive and some of that anchovy that's in there. You know, I always talk about in these videos, layers of flavor. So when I'm cooking myself with no recipe, I can kind of make things up and the flavors make sense and everything is good. But when I follow a recipe from a cookbook, and these chefs really know how to layer and complement the flavors, your salt, your acid, little bit of fat, the different proteins that are in here, the herbs, the complements of all of these flavors is really so spectacular. These are two really, really good dishes, and I love how they came together so quickly. For this, like I said, the longest thing to prep was the watermelon. For this, the longest thing to prep was the eggs in the microwave. So really easy weeknight or weekend get-together dinners, whether it's just you or you're having a crowd or your family, and it really highlights some of our wonderful ingredients. The tomatoes, I mean, this whole dish came from a box that we've been getting. And this, we've got the basil and we've got the tomato in here. So just, again, I'm always trying to show you how to do different things with what we've got, so you don't feel, okay, I gotta make another pesto or toss the basil on some pasta. Let me make another tomato sandwich. This is a leveled up tomato sandwich, right? All right, everyone, that's it for me for this week. I am going to go enjoy my dinner and relax. I hope that you all do the same, although by the time you see this video, it's actually gonna be lunchtime next day. I hope you're all enjoying this. I will see you next time. Bye.